Hello, I'm Sheriff Bill Brown, bringing you this edition of the Roundup from the Isla Vista Foot Patrol Station. In this Sheriff's Roundup, we'll share a recap of our response to the unsanctioned spring break event in Isla Vista known as Deltopia. Next, we'll share the story of an incident that earned 2 of our deputies the H. Thomasgiri Award for superior performance. We'll get a recap of community outreach events. We'll take a look at our recent Allen Hancock College Academy graduations, receive an introduction to our programs unit and all of the remarkable opportunities that they provide for our incarcerated individuals, and finally, we'll talk about a tragic accident that occurred in our community that claimed the life of a 15-year-old boy. The unsanctioned spring break event in Isla Vista that's known as Deltopia started on Friday, April 5, 2024, and ended on Sunday, April 7. During this time, the Sheriff's Office and allied law enforcement agencies issued 256 citations and made 32 arrests, all of them misdemeanors. This is an increase from 2023, when there were only 151 citations issued and 23 arrests made. Rain and wind on Friday made for a calm and relatively uneventful first day of Deltopia. The crowds increased on Saturday, however, and were significantly larger than at last year's event. The attendees were concentrated at residences along the ocean side of Del Playa. Attendance spiked in the early afternoon, along with an increase in emergency medical calls, most of which were for acute alcohol intoxication. Law enforcement assisted fire and medics in pre-planned rescue teams, responding to calls and clearing the roadway for access to patients in the densely populated areas that were inaccessible by ambulance. Patients were taken to a pre-staged medical area to regulate flow and impact to area hospital emergency rooms. Most residents complied with the outdoor festival ordinance. However, 13 citations were issued for illegal parties where deputies encountered rooftop partygoers and noise violations. These enforcement actions were made possible in accordance with the new social host ordinance. One party that was illegally charging for admission was also shut down. Deputies noted compliance from the community on maintaining smaller, free parties. There were no fatal overdoses, but sheriff's deputies thwarted an adult male's attempt to harm himself by running off of a bluff edge. We thank our many community partners and fellow first responders for helping us safely handle this challenging event. These included members of the Santa Barbara County Fire Department, American Medical Response, Alcoholic Beverage Control for the state of California, the University of California Police, the California Highway Patrol, the Santa Maria Police Department, the Sheriff's Search and Rescue Team, and Santa Barbara County Emergency Medical Services. Thank you all for a job very well done. I'm proud to share that 2 Sheriff's employees were among the 8 recipients honored on May 8, 2024 with a prestigious H. Thomasgiri Award. These honors were handed out at an annual ceremony at the Santa Barbara County Board of Supervisors hearing room. The event was attended by personnel from local law enforcement agencies and local dignitaries, as well as family and friends of those being recognized. The H. Thomasgiri Award is named after Santa Barbara Police Department officer Tom Geary, who was tragically killed in the line of duty in 1970. Every year, in his memory, the Santa Barbara Citizens Council on Crime recognizes excellence in law enforcement in Santa Barbara County. This year, I was proud to present Sheriff's Deputy Dustin Weinbrenner and Sheriff Sergeant Matthew Delgado with the H. Thomasgiri Award for superior performance. Deputy Weinbrenner and Sergeant Delgado arrived at the location, and they found the driver sitting in his car, talking on his cell phone, with the driver's door partially open. Deputy Weinbrenner approached the driver and observed an open container of alcohol. He asked the man to step out of the car, but the man ignored the order. Deputy Weinbrenner repeated the command, and the man placed 1 foot out of the car, but the man had retrieved a large steak knife. The man then ran around the front of his car, still holding the knife, and fled. Deputy Weinbrenner and Sergeant Delgado pursued the man on foot, who by now had run into the roadway causing cars to swerve around him. Sergeant Delgado ran back to his patrol car and retrieved a less lethal beanbag launcher, and then returned to where Deputy Weinbrenner had cornered the man, who was now yelling profanities at them and asking the deputies to, quote, "just gun me down." Deputy Weinbrenner and Sergeant Delgado attempted several more verbal de-escalation techniques, but were unsuccessful in calming the man down. When the man made several lunges in their direction with the knife, Sergeant Delgado utilized the less lethal launcher and fired 6 beanbag rounds at the man. Finally, the man sat down, placed the knife on the ground next to him, but he was still hovering his hand over it. With Sergeant Delgado providing cover, Deputy Weinbrenner saw an opportunity to rush the man. He was able to knock him to the ground. He then placed handcuffs on him and took him into custody. They were able to resolve the matter without any injuries to the driver, to any member of the community, or to themselves. Their efforts during this interaction are commendable, and it is with great pleasure that on behalf of the Citizens Council on Crime, I present both Deputy Dustin Weinbrenner and Sergeant Matthew Delgado with the 2024 H. Thomasgiri Award for Superior Performance. Congratulations, gentlemen. I want to thank the Santa Barbara Citizens Council on Crime for hosting the H. Thomasgiri Awards for the past 54 years and for recognizing law enforcement officers who have displayed superior performance and valor as they protect and serve the people of Santa Barbara County. Sheriff's Office team members continue to connect with members of the public at a variety of community outreach events. The Sheriff's Office works hand in hand with those we serve to bridge the gap between law enforcement agencies and diverse community groups. This ensures that the needs and concerns of all residents are understood and addressed. Recent community outreach events included Coffee with a Cop in Goleta, Coffee with a Cop in Los Alamos, the Special Olympics Law Enforcement Torch Run, the Santa Barbara Fire Safe Council Wildfire Evacuation and Survival Workshop, and the Touch a Truck event in Solvang. Thank you to everyone who joined us at these events and had the opportunity to connect with members of our team. The Sheriff's Office welcomed 2 classes of Academy graduates from Allen Hancock College who recently joined our team. On May 24, 10 custody deputies graduated from the Core Custody Academy, where they completed 260 hours of instruction. Some of their training included emergency planning in a custody facility, report writing, ethics, investigative procedures, classification of inmates, contraband and detection, arrest and control, physical training, and the practice of direct supervision of inmates. On June 5, 6 deputy trainees completed over 6 months of California Peace Officer Standards and Training certified instruction at the Allen Hancock Police Academy. Some of their training included community policing, report writing, laws of arrest, search and seizure, firearms, ethics, investigative procedures, patrol techniques, arrest and control, physical training, CPR and first aid, and emergency vehicle operations. To each of the graduates, we say congratulations on all your hard work and welcome to your exciting new careers with the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office. If you or someone you know is interested in a rewarding career in law enforcement, please visit our website at sbsheriff.org to learn more and apply today. Next, I'll pass you over to Alice Perez, manager of the Sheriff's Programs Unit in our Custody Operations Branch. She'll share with you information about the training and educational opportunities that we offer to incarcerated individuals aimed at providing them with a foundation of skills and knowledge to successfully re-enter our communities upon their release.
Both the North Branch Jail in Santa Maria and the main jail in Santa Barbara share many of the same programs, and they tend to fall into 4 kind of main pillars. And the first pillar was the original Sheriff's Treatment Program, and has been geared toward really helping to build knowledge and skills on behalf of our clients in custody, run by all of our correctional counselors who are in the programs unit. What they're working on are courses and curriculum that are fully evidence-based, and what that means is that they've been validated by the National Institute of Corrections as being able to impart skills that help move the needle toward motivation to change. What are the high-risk areas? Why are they in carceral settings? What brought them here? What might need to be put in place and acquired in terms of skills and self-understanding to be able to move forward? And those are the goals of those programs. All of our counselors are trained in all of the curriculum. We also have the behavioral health units, and those are also facilitated by our counselors in the programs unit, but also the program is run by our mental health practitioners and clinicians here at both facilities. And this is for our severely mentally ill population. Another important part of that is that custody deputies play a huge role in helping to manage and keep safety in those units. A good number of our residents do suffer from mental illness, as well as chronic homelessness and substance use disorder.
Let's make it work, whatever it takes.
The second pillar really has to do with working with our community colleges. So Allen Hancock College up here in Santa Maria at the North Jail, and Santa Barbara City College down south. The men and women in here will have their units for credit, will stay on their transcript, and when they leave here, they're invited through the Rising Scholars Program to come out of carceral settings and be able to have a real warm reception and lots of academic support when they get out. One other component that's important there is the Serve Safe classes. We have lots of kitchen workers in custody at each facility, and they do have to come with full certification for their food handlers licensing. It's a great partnership, and we absolutely rely on them to provide that to our men and women who are working in the kitchen settings. The third pillar are our community-based organizations, and we've been very intentional to really broaden those offerings. We work with the Prison Yoga Project, and the students are avid about it, they like it, they keep coming to class. It's something we hope to grow. We also work with the Wellness Center down in Santa Barbara, and they come in and do drum circle in one of our behavioral health units. And up here we work with Transitions Mental Health, and we have AA and NA. With our correctional counselors, we have really powerful reentry planners who work directly one-on-one with men and women as they're getting prepared for release. It's a big part of what we do in programs. The fourth pillar that's very important and new for us is that we have a solar training program, which is for installations. We've had 2 cohorts come through successfully, each with 6 individuals who graduated. 2 of those individuals are lined up for employment. They run for 5 weeks. It's a really prodigious training. It has an applied mock roof that they work on with 2 different types of roof materials, and it's been very successful. We just keep striving and wanting to do more. We want to keep growing, but we want to make sure that what we're building now is a foundation that can be built on. I can't say enough about the teams. They're dedicated to it. They're exceptional at what they do. I think when most of us picture jails and correctional settings, it comes with a freight of images from films, from TV shows, from our own imagination, and often it's very dark. And there's a truth to that, and that's why Northern Branch Jail is important, because it is a newer, modern jail, and it is based on this direct supervision model, meaning that the custody deputies are inside the housing units for long periods of time with the men and women whom they serve in there. We hear from custody deputies often that they appreciate having the programs inside the housing units, and that they can see a palpable difference in terms of mood, a sense of hope, a sense of purpose, a sense of future, which brings its own set of advantages. We all come with a shared experience of knowing transformation is real, it's possible, it's what we want, and when we are here and we see it, we go home knowing we can sleep well at night. And I think many deputies feel that as well. Like, well, I'm doing something that makes an impact. And when you have an environment like this facility, especially, it helps to bring people together. I think all of us feel a tremendous amount of gratitude that we're a part of it.
Thank you to the entire programs unit for making a meaningful difference in the futures of our incarcerated population. And finally, we want to tell you about a terrible accident that occurred on June 19th when a 15-year-old Santa Barbara High School student walking along the train tracks with his friend at Fernald Point Road was tragically struck from behind and killed by a train. We want to talk about what can be done to prevent such terrible tragedies from occurring in the future. Always look both ways. Trains can come from any direction at any time. Only cross railroad tracks at a designated crossing. Designated crossings are marked by a sign, lights, or a gate. If lights are flashing, or if the gate is down at a railroad crossing, wait for the train to pass completely and the gate to go back up before crossing. It is never okay to try and beat a train. Don't be tempted to walk on or along the tracks. Trains are at least 3 feet wider than the tracks on either side. Remember, a train can take up to a mile to stop. By the time the locomotive engineer sees someone or something on the tracks ahead, it is too late to stop. Trains are wider, faster, and quieter than you think. Remember, when you're around train tracks, heads up, devices down, eyes and ears open, and always look around. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of the Sheriff's Roundup. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for supporting us as we serve and protect you.